Hello everyone. I believe you are very excited about the upcoming NBA season. The consensus is that the Lakers, with their deep roster and recent improvements, potentially built their most exceptional roster under LeBron and Anthony Davis. However, it is worth mentioning that both collectively and individually they still have a lot to demonstrate this season. This is true, especially for some of your players. While their motivations may differ, there is an undeniable emphasis on certain individuals to validate themselves. But, taking center stage as the player under the most intense scrutiny, Cam Reddish's journey deserves attention. When evaluating the current lineup, probably no one has more to show for it than Reddish. We are discussing a previous top 10 draft pick that many have touted as having not only star capabilities but potential superstar qualities. However, as he moves into half a decade in the NBA, Reddish has gone through 4 different teams, with the Lakers being his last stop. And for those watching closely, there's a growing feeling that if he doesn't address and quash these growing doubts, the Lakers could score their NBA swan song. Cam's scoring ability is not up for debate, this is clear to any observer. The dispute lies in its efficiency or, more precisely, its lack of it. Coupled with an apparent lack of defensive dedication, Reddish finds itself at a crucial crossroads. The numbers, crisp in his narrative, show a player with a shooting percentage of 39.9% and a modest 32.2% from beyond the arc. Both figures are lackluster, below the norm, regardless of player experience or positional role. Compounding these offensive numbers are his inconsistent defensive outputs. There is undeniable frustration when a player known to possess commendable defensive talent demonstrates a fluctuating commitment to that end of the court. With Reddish, that inconsistency is palpable. We could witness a stellar defensive display one night, only to be met with a half-hearted effort the next night. These unpredictable performances, juxtaposed with erratic long-range shots, are enough to fray any coach's nerves. At the relatively young age of 24, Reddish finds himself at a point where raw talent won't be his saving grace much longer. Talent is a valuable asset, but without consistent positive contributions and tangible growth, it becomes redundant. Regrettably, both of these descriptors resonate with Reddish's current narrative. However, amid these criticisms, a glimmer of self-awareness emerges. The stark contrast between accepting a minimum wage contract while your contemporaries deal with maximum pay has undoubtedly been a humbling experience. Such a reality check can be expected to catalyze Reddish's evolution, both as a player and as an individual committed to the game's larger goals. Witnessing his college contemporaries collectively pocket more than $300 million over an imminent 5-year period certainly serves as a stark contrast to Reddish's current trajectory. To add salt to the wound, a substantial part of his recent stint saw him on the bench. While this came under the tight leadership of head coach Tom Thibodeau, it must have painted a vivid picture for Reddish of just how precarious his position is in the NBA. While optimism suggests there is still ample runway for him to recalibrate, the clock is looking ominously close to midnight for Cam Reddish. Perhaps, though, this urgency is the catalyst he has needed for a long time. The pressure can propel you to transform yourself into a more attuned player with the collective goal of winning. That would mean evolving into a solid defender, a sharp shooter, and an athlete who prioritizes collective victory over personal scoring. However, even with this renewed outlook, securing substantial court time will not be easy, especially with formidable talents like Christie and Prince overshadowing him. But here lies the opportunity. By tapping into his latent defensive capabilities, he could make an irrefutable argument with manager Darvin Ham, a mentor known for valuing solid defense. Cam, with his potential versatility on defense, could become an indispensable asset in Ham's playbook. This, however, depends on Reddish's genuine commitment to the cause. It's that dedication that could be the deciding factor in whether he gets substantial playing time or faces an extended period on the bench, which could dictate the trajectory of his NBA journey. When analyzing the squad, it's hard to find another player whose career is as on the line as Cam Reddish. The claim may seem exaggerated, but in a comparative sense, the future of no other player in the NBA looks so close to the edge. And that, in essence, underlines the gravity of the situation he finds himself in. While Reddish's story dominates the discourse, we can't help but wonder if there might be others, lurking in the shadows, with similarly urgent situations. Certainly, D'Angelo and Jackson Hayes have their own narratives to rewrite. But shining the spotlight on Hayes for a moment, he is one of the few who could claim that his career is in a delicate balance. However, upon closer examination, his position seems less precarious than Cam Reddish. Even as the contemporary NBA landscape evolves, downplaying the importance of centers, his presence remains indispensable. This inherent value in the centers could be Hayes' safety net, ensuring he stays in the NBA even if he has a less than stellar season. Furthermore, Hayes, being nearly half a year younger than Reddish and only marking his stint with his second team, has shown a commendable commitment to refining his craft. While there is considerable ground to cover, his closeness to being seen as a contributing player to the team is arguably closer than Reddish's, which bodes well for his future prospects. An interesting aspect to consider is the apparent advantage that Hayes enjoys in terms of securing playing time. Currently, the Lakers roster features only a handful of players suited for the full-time center role, Hayes being one of them. This dynamic gives him a considerably bigger window to make his mark, especially when he's juxtaposed against the backdrop of Reddish. In addition, Hayes seems to fit in well with the spirit of the Lakers and coach Darvin Ham's favorite playability. Ham has an affinity for adaptable defenders, and surprisingly to many, Hayes fits that profile. At 6 feet 11 inches, one could classify him as a mere rim guard. But Hayes possesses the agility to venture out and protect the perimeter, an often overlooked skill. In certain scenarios, he may even be more adept at guarding the perimeter than he does on basket defense, underscoring his versatility. This adaptability not only adds layers to his playability, but also increases his value in a league that is increasingly emphasizing flexibility on the court. D'Angelo Russell, commonly referred to as DLO, undeniably occupies a unique position. While there is little debate about his position in the NBA, questions remain surrounding his intrinsic value as a player, both financially and on the court. The weight of these issues is magnified when he plays for a top-tier team like the Lakers, which inherently attracts more scrutiny. His performance during the conference finals was particularly boosted. While it's essential to clarify that DLO didn't falter during the playoffs, his less-than-stellar finish is what lingers in the memory of many casual NBA fans. They often gravitate towards standout moments, be they highs or lows, and sadly, the conclusion to DLO's season was, to some extent, underwhelming. To rewrite his narrative, DLO will need to manifest remarkable consistency throughout the season, not just during regular games, but in the playoffs as well. It is important to align our expectations with reality, but many believe that he has the potential to achieve this. A pressing issue has been the team's approach to DLO. During the conference finals, there seemed to be momentum for him to take on the off-the-ball player role consistently. While he is versatile enough to fit into multiple roles when allowed to find his groove first, he is not inherently designed to be a perennial tag player. It is crucial that the team's strategy recognizes and adapts to this facet of its game. Moving forward, the onus doesn't just fall on DLO to prove the naysayers wrong, its use by the team is equally fundamental. This synergistic approach will be the cornerstone of his potential success in the coming year. Don't you think it's evident that Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes and D'Angelo Russell are at a pivotal point in their Lakers careers? Each of them, although for different reasons, has a lot to validate this season. I'm intrigued to hear your perspective. Does the aforementioned trio fit your list of players with the most to prove this season? Share your opinions in the comments. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And to make sure you're always up to date with my latest content, don't forget to turn on the notification bell. See you later.